Uh, could you describe the prospects of euro in the eyes of the future eurozone member?
As an economist, I see or I treat current problems of eurozone from the standpoint of optimal currency zone theory. There are three requirements for optimal currency zone. First of all, free movement of capital, goods, and human resources. The second one is similar economic level of economic development. And the third is coordination, close coordination of economic policy in member countries. Unfortunately, there were very serious violations of the third principle in the past, especially in the last decade. And even some countries, large countries, such like Germany, France, exposed quite loose fiscal discipline, especially in 2004, 2006. And probably it was bad example for the countries of South Europe, which are now in serious trouble. But I think those last years of global financial crisis helped us to draw some very important conclusions. I think first of, or probably most important conclusion was we need much closer coordination of economic policy in Eurozone and in European Union. Already some qualitative and quantitative standards of this coordination were set. So I think that worst for Eurozone, for European Union is left behind. And Lithuania, trying to join Eurozone, probably will join Eurozone, which will be more stable than it used to be 3 or 4 years ago. Yes, of course, we still have a lot of problems in Greece and other countries of Eurozone. But even the example of our neighbors, Estonia, Latvia, those countries, especially Estonia, are treated in the eyes of Lithuanians as very pragmatic. But they did it. They introduced euro in 2011, in the middle of crisis. So I think they understood very well that in the long run, it's very important policy. It's very important step of closer coordination, integration into European Union. And it is good example for us, for Lithuanians. So right now, we are considering euro introduction in this country. It was already announced that in 2015, Lithuania will be ready to introduce euro. So far, we have some problems with Maastricht criteria, especially with the Maastricht criteria on budget deficit. But I think we have all possibilities and opportunities to manage to reduce the budget deficit up to needed level of 3% of GDP in 2013 in this year. We were slightly above 3.2% of GDP in last year, in 2012. So there are some discussions in Lithuania why we should rush into Eurozone, why we should sacrifice independence of monetary policy in Lithuania. To this last question, I have very clear answer. We already lost monetary policy independence 20 years ago, as Lithuania implemented so-called currency board arrangement and introduced absolutely fixed exchange rate towards US dollar. It was done in 1994. In 2002, we repegged our national currency from US dollar to euro. It was very important step towards closer financial and currency integration. And then one more second step, also very important, was our participation in exchange rate mechanism 2. So I think that having such monetary policy environment, we cannot talk about the monetary policy independence because everybody will say it's not possible to set independent monetary policy under absolutely fixed exchange rate arrangement. We just are importers of monetary policy decisions made by European Central Bank. So for me, as an economist, it's very clear that we have very clear economic benefits of euro introduction in this country. First of all, we will enjoy lower interest rates. Borrowing costs will be lower. By the way, a very good example of Latvia. Before the situation was clear and everybody understood that Latvia will manage to introduce euro in 2014, it happened about in the mid of 2012. The yield on government bonds, 10-year maturity in Latvia, was about 30, 40 basic points higher than in Lithuania. After the situation was clear and everybody believed that Latvia will join Eurozone in 2014, the yields on government bonds became 50 basic points lower than in Lithuania. So it's a very concrete example of the benefits of euro introduction. Also, we have unneeded costs on exchange transactions, currency exchange transactions. We as the banks, I am representative of the commercial banks, we earn, of course, those fees on currency exchange, but those fees are quite impressive, about 50, 60 million liters every year. So they will be abolished after introduction of euro in Lithuania. And also, I think we will become the part or decision maker in the Eurozone region, because then we will have the seat in European Central Bank, so there will be all possibilities to participate in the formulation and implementation of monetary policy, and not only monetary policy, but also fiscal policy decisions. So I think having such strong political commitment to introduce euro, we will manage to do this in 2015. So if you will visit Lithuania in 2015, you will pay everywhere in euro. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gitanas. And I would like to address to Ingrida Šimonytė. You've been the minister